Yo. What's up? How you guys doing? Hello, hello, hello. Are you a Sabrina fan finally? Not particularly, no. I don't like this album much either. Nice quality. What do you guys think? You're super quiet. Yeah, I know. I mean, okay, I'm gonna increase the volume, but there comes a cost. But I'll do it anyways. Can you guys hear like a humming now in the background? But it's not bad. It should be really good though. Barely. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Anyways, here we are, so back. Um, we also have the new webcam. That's cool. And the cool thing with the webcam is I can turn you guys off whenever I want. Whoop, bye. Oh, I'm back. So that's cool. The webcam quality is significantly better. If you guys want to see the difference, I could do that too. So check this out. I think it's a pretty sizable difference, no? What I could do is I could give myself multiple angles now. I could put this camera, like, on the other screen. But, Thank you, Jamie. Your skin looks great. Thank you. I don't do anything for it. I, like, actively make sure my skincare is bad. Let me put the alerts above everything. Yeah. This one made you more pale. Or the old one made you more pale? Yeah, I mean, it's weird, though, because I am pale, so why is it, fucking with me? I could tinker with the settings. Does it look any different? I don't know. What webcam is this? It's the Logitech Brio RX something. Something like that. But I think the audio quality's there, the video quality's there. I think we are the stream's getting there, y'all. I think we've got basically everything we need. So I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty happy. The mustache is in high def. That might be the one downside. The one downside. Quality's eating pooks. Thanks, Hosier. All right, we've got a lot to do today. So obviously we're doing player rankings. We're doing the Stockwatch, normal Tuesday stuff. Watching some feeds, and then we're gonna go offline for a bit. America and I will film the podcast, watch The Bachelorette. The roundtable will be going on at that point. And then we'll come back late night to host the Midseason Big Brother 26 Awards, which would be very similar to if you guys watch the BB25 awards. It's going to be a similar concept. So we need to come up with the categories, because I'll be picking the the nominees, but we got to figure out what categories we're going to do, and I'll prep in the meantime. Because we're about at midpoint. 90 days, we're at like day 42 or 43 or something. Not similar to the J6 awards. Absolutely not. Married Mother of the Season. I think one of the obvious categories is going to be Best Angela Moment. I think we're going to do Best Tucker Comp Win. Those are my two locks so far. But we got to figure it out from there. Favorite Quinn Final 2, I think it'll be another category. Did you see your daughter's tweet? Yeah, it was sad. It was very sad. Best/worst person to live with? That seems a little bit toxic, no? I don't know if that would be fun. Let me pull up the feeds. So we're all expecting a slow day of feeds, right? That's... Oh, you guys want to look at my Joseph tweet? I thought this was a great tweet. Sometimes I do a great job. You got a giggle out of me? Good. That was the goal. So I tweeted... There's kind of a story to this, right? So I tweeted, it's a testament to Joseph's terrible social game that he got half the Twitter wrongfully suspicious of him having a power. Which, in retrospect, I think is pretty obvious it was Tucker, but, you know, you never know with these things. To which I was quote tweeted by Joseph's brother. When Cory Wurtenberger realized that Joseph's social strategy is working, all in good fun, Cory, love you, pal. I don't know exactly what they meant by this, but, you know, it's all right, obviously. I don't take offense to it. And then I thought I had a good response. Why is my winner pick jerking it in solitary confinement with the mean, upset, angry giraffe? So I think this was a tremendous success. 1.5k likes. I will say, leaning into the masturbation jokes is pretty crazy. I know you guys could hear the vacuum in the other room. I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit, so it's going to be quieter. But I'm going to speak louder, if that is okay. Do you approve? Can I do that? Sounds the same? Okay, good. Joseph jerked off in isolation. Yeah, to anyone who doesn't get it, just to be very clear, this is what happened. Joseph, or he claims to have. I think it'd be a weird thing to lie about for sure. But it is what he did, supposedly. You know, hey, what are you going to do? America was cooking up one of the worst tweets of all time. She was going to tweet, like, quote tweet it and be, like, close enough, welcome back, Cory Wurtenberger. And I was like, what's the joke? She's like, you know, it's funny. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it'd be good. I'm like, but I wasn't, like, jerking it all over the house. What are you talking about? She's like, no. Like, it's Twitter, though. You could lie. I'm like, yeah, but you're lying at my expense. Cam asked him where he put it. I think it's pretty obvious where he put it, right? We don't have to go into it. We really don't have to. Why is Tucker under the bumper pool table? Is he trying to fix the bumper pool table? A ball is stuck. Does anybody have the 411 on exactly what the deal is with Tucker these days? He's fully in, I don't want to quit, I'm going to gun for this AI arena vibe. That's where we're at. He said he'll gun for it now. It's my boy. He's back in the game. Let's go. I want Mackenzie to win it. I want Angela to win it, and then for them to vote out Tucker. I think that's my favorite outcome. You've been watching the feeds today? Not really. I'll have to catch up. But I don't think I missed too much. Rabina and MJ are talking. I will say Rabina seems weirdly receptive to MJ's delusions. I did see Chelsea talking to Cam. I saw that on Twitter, like the extended part. Look, I have player rankings today, and they're very different from player rankings last week. There's a lot of changes. Cory and Quinn podcast name idea, the Libras. Y'all have to understand the amount, like if Quinn and I started a podcast, every single thing we ever said would be clipped, put on Twitter, and people are going to be like, why do we need more guys like this talking about Big Brother? You know what I mean? T-Core still number one. We'll see. We'll see. It was a tough call, that number one spot. But no, it was like there was like a not a hate thread, but like a hate tweet, I suppose, about my brother when he was like a guest on a drag race podcast on RHAP, and I feel like it would be a lot of that. Did you hear Quinn is pro showmance? I mean, it makes sense that he would be pro showmance, but also he's just like, that's what you should be vocally. Like in the house, to the showmance, you should be hyping them up. That's the Suri. No, the meat shield strategy works so much better on Survivor than Big Brother. The Big Brother meat shield idea is not as strong. Unless your meat shield is like me. I'm a really good meat shield. I'm a perfect, because I can't win comps. A huge threat who can't win competitions is great. My hair looks so bad. Oh my god. Zach's been quiet on Twitter. Is he alive? Yeah, he's working a job. Yes, thank you, Katie, for permitting the fuck the meat phrase. Your hair is merging with your green screen. It is a little bit. I could try to fix that. Edit filters. Should I go all Ainsley? What's up, y'all? It's a little bit better. The curls are curling. They're curling too much, is what I'll say. Quinn should act like he will initiate the split only to keep Tucker. No, I don't think so. I will say there is a danger of having too good of a social game, where like Quinn's social game is so strong that I think Tucker really likes Quinn now. Like really likes Quinn. But it doesn't, like when your social game is good, everyone should like you, and then you still have to get rid of people, you know? And I do think Tucker just strategically is so bad for Quinn's game. Everyone's too scared of it going back to Tucker. I think all of us entered this season with the idea that no one's going to do any flips because someone could just win the AI arena. And this house has been flipping regardless. They don't give a shit. This house flips. Now the green screen's bugging out this way. What a disaster. I think we're fucked, is what I've determined. Alright, we can live with this. Do you think Quinn will vote for Tucker if he's on the block after AI Arena? If Quinn believes the votes are there, I think he'll do it. I think he'd be more than open to flip on Chemo and T-Core if the votes are there to get rid of Tucker. Especially if he knows he's the swing vote. The problem is then for Quinn, it's like, what do you do then? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have T-Core and Chemo and Rabina. They're all going to be pissed at you. And Joseph even was one of your other options, and that's going to be gone. Like, who do you have? Quinn should definitely flip if he's the deciding vote. Yeah, I agree. The green screen is fine. Yeah, but lighting changes. There's a window with sun. You all think he'd have Leah? I mean, maybe. Here comes Angela. Angela going up to the HOH room. Oh boy. Do you think they should have put up Leah? I think for Quinn, like, people were clowning on Quinn. It's like, why is Quinn still defending Leah? Leah hates Quinn. For Quinn, it's much better to have Angela on the block. Leah is a real option for him, and Angela is not. Like, for me, that's a very easy decision. So I think Angela was the right call. Terrence said Quinn needs Leah gone to have any winning path. I disagree. I don't agree with that. I get it, but I disagree. I think for Quinn, it's like, I found myself in this situation where you don't have any numbers for yourself. And right now, Leah is not a number for Quinn, but she's one of the best options. Like, what is Quinn's number? Is it like, maybe if Tucker goes, Rabina? Like, I don't... He's like everyone's third choice. Like, I got to a situation in the game where the only person who, like, I was their number one was America. And again, like, the decision here is between Leah and Angela. And I don't think Angela is ever a reliable option for Quinn. It's not going to be helpful for him to have her in the house. What do you think about Chemo's game? I don't know. It's fucking fine, I guess. Like, I don't know. Shit. The goal is to win out towards the end. Yeah, I get that. So just get rid of all the competitors. In which case, you got to get rid of Tucker here. But that feels a little bit defeatist. Basically admitting, like, all right, well, I have to win out from 7. You know? Let's try to put ourselves in a position where we don't have to do that. And if it ends up that way, we'll run it. But Quinn and Leah is America and Blue. Let me think that through. Because I was more so thinking Leah and Rabina is America and Blue. probably being Leah. Secretly, I think Quinn needs to get rid of Joseph. Like, I think Joseph is, like, really bad for Quinn's game. I think what Quinn needs to happen is a war between Chelsea and T-Core. That's his best outcome. That's the best thing he could hope for. But we'll see. Split vote and stay with Tucker. That would piss off so many people. Chelsea might put him on the block. She won't put him on the block if he does this flip with her. I think Quinn wanting to get rid of Tucker is 100% the right move for his game. I think Quinn's relationship with Tucker is getting a lot better, but Tucker being there is just so bad for him. It, like, locks up Rabina. It kind of locks up T-Core and Chemo to a certain extent. Like, he's also probably one of the biggest comp threats outside of it. Quinn's biggest competition is, like, Cam and Tucker. Tucker's obviously the biggest. But would that just make Quinn the next target? No, because I think, like, Chelsea wants to gun for T-Core, Chemo, Rabina. And if T-Core, Chemo, Rabina and find that out, like, I will say, I think that would fucking break T-Core. Like, break T-Core. If T-Core finds out Chelsea's gunning for her, that'll be brutal. Look, I think if Quinn knows the votes are there and he's the deciding vote, I think he'll vote out Tucker. I'm worried about Tucker getting his dog back. I'm not. It'll be all right. He'll get it back. Yeah, like Tucker, like Quinn has put a lot of work into making Tucker like okay with him, but that's not permanent. It's not like Tucker has Quinn in his endgame. What's up, Lola? T-Core has been misted by Chelsea. Well, you know, it's missed, and it's also obviously their bond is somewhat predicated on, like, they said they're not going to target each other because they're the two black women in the house, and I think T-Core takes that kind of bond more seriously than Chelsea. Not to say one is right and one is wrong, but I think when your relationship is kind of predicated on that, if you're not on the same page, it could get very messy. Like, Chelsea's a gamer through and through. T-Core's a gamer with a strong sense of empathy. And a little bit more, you know, driven by her emotions. Whereas Chelsea's a little bit more game body. She'd probably go for Chemo and Joseph. Yeah, but, like, if you're putting up Chemo and Rabina, you're really dumb if you're not putting up T-Core. Like, you think T-Core is going to be chill with you? Unless your thought is like, okay, I'm Chelsea. I'm going to nominate Chemo, Rabina, and let's say Quinn or Leah or someone. And your argument is like, well, T-Core, like, I'm targeting your side, but I meant it. Like, I'm never going to nominate you. I said I wouldn't nominate another black woman. I'm not going to do it. And then I think T-Core might actually stick to that the following week. You know what I mean? If she's like, yeah, I'm gunning for you, but some things are above the game. If you want to view it that way, you can. But it just feels like if you're targeting Chemo and Rabina, like, what are you doing? Not putting up T-Core. Because you're going to have to piss off somebody else. Thank you, JPR, for the gift. How are you doing? What's up? Damn. Did Angela just go to the bathroom and everyone's dipping? Leah's on the screen now. I'm looking. I don't see anything. Everyone's being called down. That was her voice? Don't they usually shut down the feeds for this? They usually cut the feeds for this. Don't remind them? Yeah. So is this hologram technology any technology, or is it just a screen? Is it literally just a TV screen? Surely the feeds are about to cut, right? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it is. It feels like they're not going to cut the feeds because they have it perfectly fixated on the screen, but maybe that's just so they could actually record it. All right, I'm getting mixed results. It's real tech that BB is using. Okay. Come on, Angela, hustle before they turn it off. How expensive is it, Red Wing? Should I get it for the new apartment? How expensive is this? Oh, you can't even buy it. It's like a demo. Ah. Is that HOH comp? It's 100K. Okay. All right, I'll start saving up. That is kind of genius. If Tucker's trying to pretend it was a comp. Yeah, that's why they didn't cut the feeds. Damn, this shit would piss me off. If I was in the house, I would absolutely be studying this all the time. And if it was fake, I'd be pissed. I mean, are we certain that was Tucker? It probably was, right? What they should have done with the AI instigator is made two instigators and not tell them about each other. That would have been awesome. It's like Tucker would sit down thinking it'd be his thing and it'd be someone else's. It does feel HOH compy, but you think they're doing another quiz? So really? If that's fake, then they're going to study. I do think people are going to study this. It's not that much to study. Like, they'll have this down in an hour, but I think the reason people don't think it's Tucker is just because the Rabina of it all. Making Rabina cry was such a good smokescreen. The problem is, it's a useless fucking power that does nothing. It's like he's not benefiting really from people thinking it's someone else. Like, I guess people are sus of like Leah and Joseph, but who cares? Angela. Not you being anti-quiz. Wouldn't this be 3 quizzes in a row? Or 3 out of 4? It'd be Angela's quiz, then Tucker Wall, then quiz. No, he's gonna get the 20K. It's comical that they have the 5 and 10K options or 15K, like, because that's not how people vote. People are not gonna like a plurality of people are not gonna decide. Yeah, let's give him 10K. He did an okay job. That's not how this works. It'll be 0 or 20K, and it'll be 20K because the show's gonna try to edit it like it caused a lot of drama, which it really didn't outside of that first one. And people saying he deserves nothing. It's like whatever, just give him the money. Like who cares? It's like why not? Voted for him. He has a New York apartment. He needs to pay. I'm surprised they didn't milk him making Rabina cry more. I think they wanted to portray it in a positive light, and I think they did that. Granted, I don't think it was like an evil thing Tucker did. I do think it was he just kind of fucked up. So like, I'm glad they didn't shit on him in the edit, but I think they want Tucker to be a likable guy. No, Tucker did not quit. Fellow Vandy alum, what's up, John? Well, it was your graduation year. If it's a 1.4 million apartment he bought, 20K is barely 2 months of mortgage. Sure, but it is 2 months of mortgage. That's good. We take it. 2 months is 2 months. Why complain? We can hear America pretty clearly. The gain is way too high. I'm making it lower, but let me see if I could fix this a little bit. Okay, how does this sound? It should sound a little bit quieter than we'd like, right? Yeah? Is this better? No, the gain's way too high now. Now you can hear her. It should be a little bit better now. I'm trying to like make the volume louder, but the gain not louder. But I don't know if I can do that. What's up, Mom? At all? I don't know. Your volume is way too low. I mean, it really shouldn't be. If I take this thing off, will it get better? Not sure. It's super low. You're too quiet. Um, she's being very loud in the other room. I could hear her through the headphones. I hear a humming in the back that wasn't there the first stream with the new mic. I know. I don't know what the fucking difference is. Okay, is this any better? You don't hear any humming. The difference between who can hear the humming and who can't is very simply just the quality of your headphones. Like the better quality, you can hear it. The worse quality, you can't. But yeah, but you guys will hear a humming when I raise the gain. Now you guys should hear it. You hear less humming when the gain's lower. But yeah. Sounds good now. Yeah, but I don't know. I know it sounded better last stream, and I can't identify exactly why. I feel like I haven't changed very much. What if I do... What if I just do this? Does this happen to sound any better? Or is it the exact same? Okay, Katie, don't patronize me though. Like, does it, like, I know you're just trying to get me to move on. But does it sound any better? Good, no humming. Alright, whatever. Whatever. What do I see Cory and Chemo talking about? And do I care? They're just studying. Okay. They're just studying. Oh my god. It's pissing me off though, because I could see the humming. I see the feedback. I'm sorry. Just close my stream for a second while I try to figure this out. I'm literally staring at it. It shouldn't be there. Yeah. And now this is going to be super quiet. And this is still going to be quiet. Okay. You had a perfect first stream. I know, chaotic. I don't know what changed. No, the mic is too good to have any humming. If you can't hear the humming, you're kind of useless to me. Right now, you shouldn't be able to hear it at all. Oh, I'm so mad. Honestly, that might make it better, straight up. Is this like any better? You could probably just hear America in the other room, though, right? Some ambient buzz, but no humming. I'm gonna kill myself. This mic is too good to be humming. To have buzz. It's way too good. I know I sound fine. I don't want to sound fine. It could be the cable. It's not the cable. Get a new mic. I'm gonna ban you. I'm so close to banning you. I don't hear humming. You have to understand. You guys got to understand that just because you don't hear humming doesn't mean other people can't hear humming. And America should not be. You should not be able to hear her from the other room. There's a door between us. She's on a couch. You know what I mean? Like the gain. I don't know why I can't have a low gain. I want a low. Okay, here's what we'll do. Let's take this shit off. Let's see if this makes it any better. Okay. Because I had this off last stream, and I don't know if it's any better. And I could lower this, and it might sound a little bit better, hopefully, potentially. You sound louder? Okay, that's good. Well, that's one step. And I could turn the gain hopefully lower, and I could still maintain a respectable level of audio. Sentient being, when you say when you lowered it, what do you mean by it? No, the mic itself does not have a gain button or anything. You think it would, but it doesn't. What does have the gain button is the Focusrite Scarlett i2 mixer thing. Like this should have its own thing. We're very fancy out here, okay? But the only knobs I really understand is I've got this gain knob. Bring it closer to your mouth. I mean, this feels a little bit excessive, no? This doesn't feel like I'm like being intimate with the mic. Try some music to cover America. The frustration I'm having, which I don't think you guys get, is like I paid too much for this mic and I had it right yesterday. So when you guys are saying it's like fine, like I know it's fine. Like I know it's passable. The audio is good. It's better than it was before. But I hate it not being good. You know what I mean? I don't hear her at all. Kayla. It's because she wasn't talking. Alright. Let's just roll with it. Fuck it. We move. Whatever. Whatever. Okay. Are you guys ready for player rankings? Because this was a kind of a complicated player rankings to do. This one was messy, I'll be honest. What do you mean I'm muted? What do you mean? Okay? Alright, whatever. Whatever. We're fine. We're fine. Relax, everybody. Relax. Relax. We're fine. I know how to fix these things. I'm an expert. Okay. Okie dokie. So, let's get this thing going. Okay? Let me fix the cam first. Okay. Player rankings, just to give you all an idea of where we were before this. Let me get the right screen being recorded. Last week, this was the chopping block. We had Cam, Angela, Mackenzie, Brooklyn, who got evicted at 9, Leah, and then Quinn at 7. Okay? This was the bottom 6. A lot of people on the chopping block. And on the player rankings, this might be a little bit hard to see. But we got T-Core at number 1, Chemo Rabina, Takimo Bina, top 3, and Joseph, Chelsea, and Tucker. Now, I will say, as you guys might expect, these rankings have changed quite dramatically. Now, before I go into my power rankings, my chopping block, I would be remiss to not discuss the methodology at play here. Now, I see someone already mentioned it. Do you all know my philosophy when it comes to player rankings? Do I use short-term security, long-term security, win equity, jury potential, compability? What do I use to determine my player rankings? Yes, I use a rich tapestry, including everything, but not limited to, your security in the game, your social and strategic ability, your competition resume and ability, your potential to win jury votes, your potential to have people drag you to the end, your immediate danger level, and even if twists may be introduced to protect you. It's a rich tapestry that considers everything. Showmance potential, I don't know if that necessarily is a factor, but certainly if you're in a showmance, it will affect all your other factors. So, with that being said, we start with the chopping block. Now, the chopping block this week, I must say, is smaller than it's ever been before. It's not a huge tapestry. Wait, I didn't say that right. The chopping block last week was half the house. Of the 12 house guests, 6 people were on the chopping block. This week, it's not that big. Now, my question, of course, is who do you guys think I have as the last ranked player? Last week, it was Cam. He was in danger of going home. He obviously showed us no strategic ability. See a lot of people saying Angela. A couple MJs. Well, you all are correct. Angela is, for my money, the worst player in the house currently. According to the rich tapestry, she is in the most danger. Now, here's the deal with Angela. She is at risk of being evicted this week. It's a real possibility. Right now, would you guys say she's the 3rd most likely to get evicted? Do you think she's the safest person on the block? If that is true, it's not true by much. I think if you factor in trying in the AI arena, I still think Tucker probably has a better shot of staying. But you'd think Angela would stay against MJ, and you'd think she would stay against Tucker. You'd think. So Angela does not have good short-term security. She's on the block, she might go home, but she's not dead in the water. Her big problem, of course, is win equity. She has none at all. And I think a lot of people would say, well, Angela should have pretty good long-term security before she blew up her whole relationship with Tucker and 6th Avenue and all of that. The truth is, I don't think her long-term security has changed very much. I think if she survives this week, I still think she's in for a pretty deep run. Quinn was talking about it with T-Core and Chemo. It might be good to get rid of Angela now because it's going to be harder and harder as the weeks go on, because why are you wasting a week on Angela? If she survives this week, that might continue to be the case. Her problem since day 2, whenever she confronted Matt, is the same problem that it's always been. She has no win equity. She has none. She cannot win in the final 2. Nobody respects her. Her biggest benefit of long-term security is more unsteady now. I called it at the end of week 1. Angela has a 0.0% chance of winning the game, and I will stand by that. Do not call her the Suri of the season. That is disrespectful. That is disrespectful in every way. It's disrespectful to Suri in every way, and it's disrespectful to Angela in the sense that Angela has 2 HOHs. But JPR says 0 is too absolute. I will stand behind it. 10 toes down. I would say Angela is much more like Felicia. Felicia's the better comparison, where she was literally just being dragged towards the end. Suri was still trying to pave some kind of endgame for herself. What if she wins? Then I will dye my hair silver. Angela can't be dragged. She can. Felicia was also chaotic, trying to form all these connections, fighting with people, and it doesn't matter. All of that shit is just theatrics at the end of the day. If you're able to be dragged, you can be dragged. The only thing is, Angela's proven herself to be pretty good at some of these quiz things, which could get a little bit more dangerous. Okay. So Angela's at 11. Who do you guys think I have at 10? Who do I have at number 10? MJ or Tucker? MJ, Mackenzie, MJ. Well, I have MJ at number 10. I believe this strongly. MJ is the worst player in the house. Strategic ability, social ability, reads, there's nothing to celebrate. The only thing you can give MJ, the only thing, is she's trying hard, which I appreciate. She's not my least favorite person to watch on the season, but she is far beyond clueless, to the point where she's like a lost cause. Now, why is she above Angela? Because she is in more danger of going home this week. Well, MJ has not completely lost the ability to win a jury vote. If she gets to the final 2, I don't think she's in a great spot, but it's not like people will vote against her on principle. Also, she is much more athletic than Angela. Absolutely. Angela has won more comps than Mackenzie. Or I guess they're tied, right? Because Mackenzie won an arena and the twist comp. But we all know MJ's got a better shot of winning comps than Angela. We know that. So, for those 2 reasons, I feel better about putting MJ above Angela. Not to mention, Angela is much more self-destructive than MJ. Right now, I would say, I would bet a tremendous amount of money that Angela makes it further in the game than MJ. I'm very confident about that, which may seem contradictory. Cory, why do you have Mackenzie above Angela then? Well, it's not all about placement. If it was about placement, Jag would be a better player than Matt, Bowie Jane would be a better player than Suri, and Blue would be a better player than me. Angela is going to place better than Mackenzie, and Mackenzie deserves to be higher on the power rankings. That is the product of the rich tapestry. Thank you, Dee. I think it's very important to consider placement less. I think people weigh it way too highly. I'd argue Angela has had better positioning so far. Positioning is one piece of the rich tapestry, one piece of the rich puzzle. When your win equity is 0, that is a damning statistic, a damning factor. I'd love to see a BB27 player named Rich Tapestry. Yeah. All right. Who do you all think I have at number 9? I should make the background a Rich Tapestry. That'd be fun. All right. Someone says Leah. Tucker, Leah, Cam, Tucker, Leah. A lot of Tuckers and a lot of Leahs. At number 9, I have Tucker. Tucker can go home in a couple days. It is likely. It's not the most likely option, but there's a real possibility. That is bad. He wants to quit. That's terrible. Granted, he's never going to quit. He's going to try in the AI arena. I will say, once the AI arena is no longer a competition, I think he might roll over and die if he's on the block. Granted, for a guy like Tucker, it's kind of hard when AI arena is not there in general, so I don't know if him rolling over and dying makes much of a difference. Tucker's position has fallen apart dramatically. He's lost Angela as a super tight number. Rabina seems very skeptical of Tucker. The one thing I'd give him credit for is I think he's done a pretty good job with T-Core and Chemo. It seems like all of a sudden this whole flip against Tucker would actually be a blindside to T-Core and Chemo. It would be like Chelsea and Cam where the remnants of 6th Avenue are trying to save him, which is kind of a weird way this house is flipped because the whole week it was, is T-Core and Chemo going to choose to get rid of Tucker? So it's a bit bizarre. Again, he's only in this situation of being on the block because he volunteered. Just a self-destructive player in that capacity. He should have been totally safe. He's going into the AI arena against Mackenzie and Angela, where right now I'd probably give him a 60% chance to win. Give him 60, Angela 15, MJ 25, something like that. But there's a real chance he could lose. With how these comps are, it's very likely. And look, it's not even like if a mental comp comes up, he's screwed. I think he has the advantage in a mental comp against Angela and MJ. Especially with the way these AI arena comps are, it's like recognizing things fast. Like last week, I think he would have crushed Chelsea, Cam, and Brooklyn in that arena. So, Tucker's not in a good spot. He does not have long-term security. He does have some people fighting for him. Joseph is defiantly in his corner. It seems like T-Core and Chemo, especially Chemo, are on board with Tucker. Rabina's a little bit more skeptical, but let's be real. It's Rabina. She's going to be with Tucker. He has numbers in his corner, and he's the best competitor in the house, and because of that, you cannot rank him below MJ or Angela. But because of how transcendently bad of a strategic player he is, I can't rank him higher than this. So, who do you all think I have at number 8? Sydney predicts Leah. So does Katie and Eddie and everyone. And I'm not going to let the suspense drag on too long. It is Leah. Leah's number 8. Here's the deal with Leah. Leah has some shooters. She has people in her corner. Quinn and Joseph are defending her. A lot of people fighting for Leah to stay off the block. A lot of people fighting for her to stay on the block as well. Let's be clear. Tucker was fighting hard for Leah to go on the block. It seems like T-Core and Chemo were leaning that way as well. Even Cam is kind of fighting for Leah. Like, she's got her people, which is very good. I will say, I don't think that is due to her strategic acumen. I think she's doing a very good job of playing these boys. But I do think a lot of them view her as a number they can drag along. Which, again, is not terrible for Leah, but it's not a great sign. I think she has just about as little win equity as anyone outside of Angela. Is Leah giving 6th? That was my prediction. I'm going to stick with it. I could definitely see Leah in that final 2 GOAT spot. I will say, and I'm curious what you guys think about this. Are you guys recognizing a certain similarity between like Leah stands and some stands from last year? Am I is that a right read? So I think the similarity I'll draw there is people giving them a lot more credit than they deserve in terms of their strategic prowess and ability. And I think Leah and Blue are very different players. I actually respect Blue's game a little bit more. And when I say respect, I don't mean like on a moral level. I don't give a shit about that. If Leah's game is to like flirt with all the guys and like that's good. I'm fully on board. But I don't even know if I respect Blue's game much more. They're pretty similar. How much I respect it. When I say respect, I want you guys. I mean respect in terms of like would I give them my jury vote, not like to what esteem do I hold their games. I don't care about that. I think the difference between Blue and Leah is I think Blue was a little bit more active, and Blue had some allies. Like Leah has allies, but not really. I think everyone's just trying to drag Leah along. Like everyone knew they couldn't drag Blue along. And I know you guys get annoyed when I say this, but I think a big difference also is Blue is pretty good at comps and Leah's pretty bad. She's gotten like second and third in quizzes and stuff, but like when a lot of this stuff turns physical, I have a lot more faith in Blue than Leah. And look, I'm not here to defend Blue's game. I think Blue's game was a fucking disaster in a lot of ways. The point is, however you rank the two of them, I think they're quite similar, and I think a lot of people are trying to figure out a way to give Leah more credit than she deserves for the game she's been playing. Because honestly, her game so far, not in terms of like the way she's playing, but her position is very similar to America from last year, where it's like every single week she's an option to go up. Every single week she kind of avoids it by the skin of her teeth, sometimes due to her own work, sometimes due to nothing to do with her. And maybe against the right person, she might be able to figure it out in the end. Like I think that's the way I view Leah's game. And I think if I did a player rankings, before the Izzy flip last year, so like at this point in week 6, literally this Tuesday, week 6, I think I would have America right around here. The only people below her being like Cam and, you know, Jag and Felicia or someone. And I think that's a good point, Citrus. Like, she wouldn't have Joseph and Quinn on her side if Takimo weren't so coquettish and so terrified of saying anything. Like, she's been messy enough for her game to blow up. If any of y'all just saw her conversation that she had yesterday with Tucker, I think it's hard to walk away with anything other than Leah's a really terrible player. Her defense to, hey, Leah, were you throwing out my name? Was, I forgot. Like, it's insane. I think Leah's getting away with a lot more. Like, Leah's almost like America if Jag and Blue didn't rat her out. And just talked about ratting her out. You know what I mean? And obviously she has a much worse strategic mind than America, but... So, I think Leah, here's the credit I'll give her. Socially, she's got these boys wrapped around her finger. That's good. Super good. It saved her from the block this week. I don't see much win equity. I don't see compability, which raises your win equity. And it's concerning to me. Convos on feeds is happening now. What do we got going on? Rabina and T-Core. I mean, none of these people are the flippers. This is Chemo and Tucker and Rabina and T-Core. Like, what? Does this matter that much? Rabina's spiraling because of MJ. I'm telling you, MJ can't get to anyone in the house except for Rabina. And I think it's because Rabina and Tucker are so scared of the other one playing them and them, like, being made to look like an idiot. Rabina's gullible. Yeah, I really don't have much faith in Rabina as a player. But yeah, I don't really care about either of these conversations happening on the feeds right now. I have Leah at number 8. Who do I have at number 7? Who do you think? Did your America ever deal with that insecurity? Not really. At the start, I just kept saying out loud that I thought America was playing me, and I thought it was fine. But eventually, I disagreed. Chemo. I see. Cam. Rabina. All right, this one has a lot of parody. Cam, Rabina. A lot of different names coming up. Well, next up on the chopping block, I have nobody. I think everyone after Leah has a reasonable chance of succeeding. Has a reasonable level of win equity and is in a reasonable position. The Rich Tapestry says they're doing all right. Which takes us to the player rankings. And the first name I have on the player rankings is a name I haven't seen come up too much. It came up a little bit. Joseph. And you guys did not see the name I had after that. Joseph. So, here is the issue with Joseph. He is so bad socially. He's so bad socially. And you kind of hope with a guy like Joseph, like he'll be bad socially, but as time goes on, you spend so much time in the house together, you just kind of get closer and closer. But he doesn't. He doesn't. He gets worse. He has Tucker. Tucker likes Joseph. I think he's the only one in the house. And then there's the added layer with Joseph of he is very delusional about his own ability, his own jury potential. I think he's got a good strategic instinct. I think him and Rabina are the two people in the house it benefits to keep Tucker around. For Joseph's game, it is important to keep Tucker. But he thinks he's Dr. Will. He's talking too much about thinking how good he is strategically. He's telling everyone he's throwing comps. And this is where I'll make a little bit of a amendment to what I said in the preseason. I said you should never tell somebody if you're throwing competitions. You should never do it. There's no reason for it. And I agree with that. But if you're Joseph, telling everyone you're throwing competitions might actually not be that bad, because I think people are never going to view him as a useful ally, but they might view him as someone they can drag to later in the game. It's very weird. Like, the whole point of not telling people you're throwing comps is so they don't get mad at you when you're aligned with them and they see you lose a comp that they want you to win so you could protect them. You know, like, I think his win equity is not very high. I do think because people view him as like a schemer and a kind of a rat and like these kinds of things, I think he could win in the final two against a lot of people. I think there's like a real chance. But not against like anyone. Like, I think he loses to Chelsea and Cam and Quinn and probably T-Core and Chemo and maybe Rabina. Like, I think he probably beats Leah, MJ, and Angela. So he beats like the bottom people, but I think he loses to just about everybody else. I think he does lose to Cam. I believe that. Yeah, I think it's weird with Cam, or with Joseph. Like, when he says these things like, I'm Dr. Will, I'm the star of the show, I do think there's an air of sarcasm to it. I think it's dry humor. But there's also like a morsel of truth. You know what I mean? a shred of real belief. I think it's hard to argue he doesn't have that. Keeson, she's not going to make it to the end. But also, people don't respect MJ's game. He's joking, but not totally. JK unless is definitely the vibe of Joseph's game. I think Joseph, his time of not being on the block is over. The one thing is, If the house kind of flips against Chemo and T-Core, if Chelsea and Cam gather up this group to flip on Tucker, all of a sudden, Joseph kind of does have a few allies. Like, Joseph, I guess, then would be locked in with Chemo and T-Core. But I think the days of trying to clue Joseph into votes, keeping him off the block just because he's in one of your 8 alliances, I think it's over. And if Joseph's on the block, he doesn't have a good shot at winning a veto or AI Arena. He's just a very easy out. And I think he's going to go home. Like, I don't think people would view getting rid of Joseph as a waste of a week. But it's also not like a huge swing you have to take. Like, I think he's like the perfect kind of guy to evict at this point. Is anyone against Joseph or Chemo? I think everyone is somewhat against Joseph. Like, T-Core and Chemo are kind of against Joseph. Chelsea and Cam are kind of against Joseph. Like, everyone's against Joseph. But no one is like, Joseph's not anyone's number one enemy, if that's what you're asking. People going after the trio makes him pretty safe for a while. He has a little bit of short-term security, maybe, but he's not... His social connections are just too bad to have any sort of long-term plan. Might be Rabina's main enemy. Yeah, but if Tucker's there, I don't think she would target Joseph. Fallback target if main target wins veto. Something like that. Or if AI Arena goes for one more week, you know, something like that could happen. I'm worried for Joseph. He's my winner pick. I give him a spot on the player rankings instead of the chopping block because of, again, I don't hate his strategic ability. I think generally he's pushing for the right thing for himself. Him trying to keep Tucker is good for his game. But I can't put him any higher because of his social ability. Story of Joseph's life. Pretty good strategically, terrible socially, and it evens out to he's doing okay. But that is where I have Joseph. Who do you all think I've got at number 6? He thinks he could beat Tucker in the end, which is bad for his game. Yeah, but he's not going to get there with him anyways. A lot of people say Quinn. A lot of people say Cam. A lot of people say Chemo. A lot of people say Rabina. Well, at number 6, I have Cam. I think this is critically important for us Big Brother fans to do. Because a lot of times, we see a really bad player, and they start to do something that's, like, reasonably okay, and we talk about them like they're the best player of all time. Like, Cam has done great this week relative to Cam the entire season, but it's still Cam at the end of the day. That's him. And he's not very well connected in this house. People like him. He's great with Chelsea. That's a good connection. Very valuable connection. He's got a pretty decent thing with Tucker. That's good. But he's still not very connected. Like, he doesn't have a ton of connections. Like, him and T-Core are okay, but T-Core just nominated him. It's like, all right. Now, I think a lot of people are giving Cam a lot of credit this week because he seems to be more locked in strategically. He's talking more with Chelsea. He wants to target Chemo right now. He's open to getting rid of Tucker, which is absolutely the right move for Cam. And this is a meteoric rise. Last week I had him 12 out of 12. Now I've got him 6 out of 11. Here's the pros for Cam. Strategically, Cam is not good, but he is sound. He doesn't go off the rails, come up with ridiculous, crazy plots. He's a sound strategic player. He has a normal mind for the game. He is also a very strong competitor, especially if Tucker leaves. He has the ability to comp out whenever there's a physical competition. No one gets close to comparing to him physically. The next closest is MJ or Quinn, and you think Cam would easily, beat them in those kinds of comps. Like a double eviction veto, you think he'd be a lock to win, basically. That's huge. Number 3, he's very strong socially. Not in the sense of he has this web of interpersonal connections that are going to carry him through the game, but people like him. I think people would be willing to vote for him in the end. I think he has other players' respect, not necessarily as a game player, but as a person. No one views him as a rat schemer or like some two-faced person. They like him. And that's huge. That is incredibly important. I can definitely see a situation where Cam comps out towards the end and wins the game. If his true loyalties lie with Chelsea, I think that could be a little bit dangerous because I think people have a lot of respect for Chelsea. But that's a long way down the road. By virtue of being a strong physical dude who doesn't blow up his own game, I think Cam has put himself in a position to possibly win. You could say he's doing the bare minimum, but I'll give it to him. So, that is what I'll say about Cam. Proud of him. Hoping he continues to keep this up. I would love to see Cam as HOH. Secretly, I actually don't. Because if Cam wins HOH, he's going to be so chill. No big speeches. If he wants to nominate Cory, Chemo, Rabina, that'd be kind of crazy, though. I just don't want people to make the Matt mistake from last year, where Matt started playing a little bit harder, and then everyone started believing he's a mastermind. These people are who they are. I think Cam is kind of similar to Matt from last year, except Matt, I think, had like a better cast for himself. And also, Matt's a white dude, which changes the calculation. Let's be very real. That's a very different thing. Matt was a lot better. Yeah, for sure. But I'm just talking like big picture trends. I just mean in the sense of like, these people are who they are. You know what I mean? That is the deal. Okay. Alrighty. So now we move on to number 5. Top 5. We've still got Cory and Chemo. We've still got Rabina. We've still got Chelsea. We've still got Quinn. I see some people saying Quinn. A lot of people saying Chemo. Some Rabinas. Well, at number 5, I have Chemo. Here's the problem with Chemo. If it ends up being Cory, Chemo, and Rabina, they're the targets, Chemo's going first. I think Chemo has a much better strategic mind than Rabina. Absolutely. Him and Cory, a little bit closer. But Chemo is like the least connected of all of them. Rabina's got her thing with Tucker. Cory's got her connection with Chelsea and even something with Cam and a little bit with everyone, you know? Chemo is the least connected. He's good socially, but it hasn't manifested in like a great position. People perceive him as being like the marionette, or rather the puppeteer to Cory's marionette, which is great if they end up in the final two. But more than likely, they're going to be on the block together, and I think Chemo is going to go home. Thank you, Rana. Maybe not today, but I appreciate it. Sorry, I don't know exactly what that sound was. I don't have Discord open. But I appreciate that. Chemo is definitely fixated on Tucker. It's a little bit problematic, but Tucker might be leaving soon. And if Tucker stays, Tucker does love Chemo. So that's one of his strongest connections. I think you can certainly make an argument for Chemo. Keeping Tucker is a pretty good option. Because then everyone else still has to target Tucker before him. And Tucker is going to let Chemo stay for as long as possible. I will say that. I think the more I even talking about it out loud, I do think Chemo should probably keep Tucker. IMO. But essentially, Chemo is competent strategically, he's competent socially, but his connections aren't quite there in relation to his allies. And considering how his allies are probably going to be targeted quite soon, they're way too obvious of a trio, he could be in serious danger. As soon as next week. He does not have a lot of short-term security in this game. And he doesn't have the comp ability to back up his threat level. I don't think Chemo and T-Core on the block together would be fun. I think they would literally talk to each other all week. I think if Rabina's on the block, she would walk around the house, talking to anybody. But I think T-Core and Chemo would literally just yap to each other. Okay. And that takes us to number 4. Number 4, the last person who's going to miss the top 3. And if you know about my player rankings, you know top 3 gets little gems. So this is a big deal. Quinn, Rabina, Quinn, Rabina. It's one of the two of them. I've got Rabina. Congratulations, Quinn, venturing back into the top 3 for the first time since week 2? Maybe week 1? It's been a difficult road for Quinn. But let's talk about Rabina. Rabina is a part of Takemo Bina. I don't think she would be the target. I think Chemo would go before either of them, but I do think Rabina would go before T-Core. The best asset Rabina has in her game is she has a lot of options. If Tucker stays, she's got Tucker. If Tucker goes, she has Chemo and Rabina. She's also trying to be brought in by MJ. Now, I see someone in the chat saying MJ's missing Rabina. The biggest problem with Rabina's game is Rabina's really bad at Big Brother. She's not strategic in nature. She's not good at this. But her positioning is solid. I think the house respects her to a certain degree. They like her. I think they'd be happy giving her the money over someone else. But the problem is she's not going to be able to get there by herself. I'm sure we all remember Rabina being on the block and doing a terrible job campaigning. Takemo had to do it for her, and ultimately she was safe against anyone on the block. She'd be safe against MJ and who ended up actually going that week, Cedric. But it really was due to no fault of her own, unless you want to give her credit for just bonding with Chemo and Rabina well. I love her spot. She has a lot of options. She has a lot of people she can work with. Unfortunately, I don't think she's going to be able to navigate these strategic waters as well as we would like. And I don't think she has a lot of short-term security. Chemo wins a veto, wins an AI arena. She could be booted as early as next week. Honestly, I think Rabina's a little high on this list. I have to ask you, Mango, who would you have above her? Just Chemo because he's a better player? I just think Chemo's in a lot of danger. And Rabina just has more options. Cam? I think that's fine, but Cam doesn't have options really. Cam just has Chelsea and that side of things. And I could see, Rabina I think has a lot of different ways to get to the end, a lot of different paths she can take, a lot of different people can win HOH and she'll be fine. I think most people win HOH next week and Cam's on the block. But I don't think it's a crazy take. I think everyone from 7 to 3 are kind of exchangeable. And I think the main reason I would understand Cam over Rabina is if you're talking about compability. I could definitely understand that. If you're just saying Cam is able to comp out in the end and Rabina can't. I'd be willing to listen to that. I see Angela and Joseph talking. Is it anything important? His mic is fucked up. I guess he's changing, so he doesn't have it on. Joseph's telling her to do nothing. I think that's honestly pretty good advice. I think in the status quo, she's pretty okay. The house is going to flip against Tucker regardless. And against MJ, I just don't think MJ has the ability. MJ's talking to Rabina again. Get out of there, Rabina. Run. Anyways, who do y'all have at number 3? I think this one should be about unanimous. I don't know if Rabina has no win equity. I think people like her. All right, I have not seen a single name that isn't Quinn, and you guys are a smart bunch. Quinn gets the amethyst, the pink gem. Congrats, Quinn. Back into the top 3. That's crazy. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? Quinn, in my opinion, is in a very similar spot to Rabina in regards to options. Quinn has different paths. Obviously, Chelsea and Cam are not a huge fan of Quinn, but Quinn right now can choose to go with whoever he wants. He can choose to go with them and get rid of Tucker. He can choose to stick with Takimo Bina and work with them. He also has been working on his relationship with Tucker. I'm not certain if Tucker wins HOH next week, he would target Quinn. I'd actually bet he wouldn't. He'd probably target Leah? Right? Leah and MJ, maybe? And I will say, Quinn is in a very similar position to me around this time in the game, where his position's a little rocky, but if he gets to the end, he's going to win. People are talking about him like he's some mastermind that he really isn't. He's got everyone's respect. He's got a much better social game than me. The problem with Quinn, and this is kind of crazy, I have no faith in him strategically. I think if he gets in a better position, he's going to fuck it up, or he's very likely to fuck it up. He might be like me in the sense of he's better at playing from a mid position than a good position. And right now, he's playing well from a mid position. I think him ratting out Angela was absolutely the correct decision. And he's put himself in a position where, again, he's the swing vote. He's playing the middle. There are a lot of people who might target Quinn. Probably not target Quinn, but nominate Quinn. He's nobody's number 1. He's got a bit of a blind spot for Leah. There's a lot of problems with Quinn's game. But ultimately, he's strategically knowledgeable. Is he competent? I'm not sure, but he's knowledgeable. You trust he knows how to play the game. He has win equity. People respect the way he plays. If he gets to the end, he'll probably win any jury vote. And he has competition ability. Not to the extent of like a Tucker or even like a Cam, but you have to imagine he's going to win an HOH in a couple vetoes, especially if Tucker is evicted. America Instagram post? Let me see. I must dial in.
No. You're supposed to be busy. You're not supposed to see it yet.
I'm zooming in. Nice Photoshop, babe.
Oh, shut up. What did I Photoshop? Oh. Yeah, that dress is super see-through, y'all. Did you see the last bit? I was gonna check in and see if it was okay, but sound on, please. Oh.
Suck on it?
Suck on it.
No, I'm not sucking on it.
She's asking me to suck on the shark from the Outback Steakhouse shark bowl.
It would have been funny.
Anyways, next post. Yeah, Chelsea doesn't hate Quinn. I think Chelsea likes Quinn a lot. Tucker likes Quinn a lot. Like, everyone likes him. They just kind of recognize him to be a threat. I've got to listen to this Quinn-Joseph combo. Quinn-Joseph duo is fun to watch. I enjoy it. Two dumb bitches telling each other exactly is what's happening right now. wants to push Angela to go. It'll push Leah closer to us. How? In what way? It's such a weird... Okay, I understand Quinn and Joseph individually wanting to, like, pull Leah in as as like their specific number, but how are they trying to do it together? Like, it's not like Quinn... Are Quinn and Joseph still pretending to be, like, a final two to each other? Or are they both, like, over it? They're still pretending? Joseph is saying Angela fucking loves me. No, she doesn't. Okay, so they're basically just Quinn's pushing for Angela and Joseph's pushing against it. I mean, I think for Joseph, he should try to keep Angela in. I think it benefits Joseph to get MJ out. Joseph needs MJ out. Quinn needs Tucker out, basically. Tucker or Angela. Anyone but MJ. And that's another thing about Quinn. So back to the player rankings. Quinn is good at Mackenzie, too. Mackenzie likes Quinn. Would she nominate him? Maybe. Would Leah nominate him? Maybe. But I feel like he's got the social ability and the strategic knowledge to navigate some of these things. I have a lot more faith in him than I do Rabina. Which, again, very low bar. Very low bar. My concern with Quinn is he's self-destructive. If he gets into a good spot, he might ruin it. But if he's in a bad spot, I actually trust him. A little bit. Granted, last week he was on the block and tried to stay on the block, basically. McQuincy crack ship, yeah. I've got Quinn at 3. He has options. He has win equity. He has comp ability. It's not a stacked cast. That's enough to get to number 3. Now, that leaves Chelsea and T-Core. Chelsea and T-Core. Who do I have at number 2 is the question. A lot of people saying Chelsea. A lot of people saying T-Core. I see more Chelseas than T-Cores overall. At number 2, I have T-Core. Chelsea, after the house flipping on her, has climbed all the way back up to the number 1 spot. It's her first time at the number 1 spot this whole season. Brooklyn was always above her in the early weeks. Then she fell. Very simply, this week has made me think lesser of T-Core's ability and made me think more of Chelsea's. I think T-Core is one of the better players in the house. I don't respect her game very much. I don't think people in the house respect her game very much either. I think they all respect her as a person immensely. They love T-Core. I think they'd be willing to vote for T-Core. But everyone thinking she's like a puppet and someone else is playing her, it's good for now. It could get dangerous later. Like right now, does T-Core beat Chemo in a jury vote? It depends if they're voting for the best player. I think they would think Chemo is the best player. If they just like T-Core more, maybe she can get their votes then. The other danger with T-Core is T-Core is a lot more loyal to some people than they are to her, specifically Chelsea. These are our top 2, Chelsea and T-Core. Chelsea is willing to cut T-Core, and T-Core is not willing to cut Chelsea. T-Core clearly showed she's not a decisive player. She panics. She gets very emotional, which is fine. But compared to Chelsea, who seems a lot more focused on the task at hand, locked in, it doesn't bode as well. Chelsea also has a lot more options than T-Core. I mean, T-Core has got Chemo and Rabina. That's very strong. The thing that differentiates them, ironically, is Chelsea has T-Core as an option, and T-Core doesn't really have Chelsea as an option. That's really what separates their positions. But that's just one part of the tapestry. The other part is game ability, and I think we all agree Chelsea has a better mind for this than T-Core. Compability-wise, I think they're very similar. I would like, my instinct says Chelsea would be a bit better, but she was terrible in the arena, so like I wouldn't really lean one way or another. I think if it came down to a jury vote, I think Chelsea would beat T-Core. IMO. And they could end up next to each other at the end. I don't think that's super unlikely. What is Quinn doing? Okay, he's going to the bathroom. If Chemo and T-Core are on the block together, T-Core goes home. I disagree with that. I think Chemo goes home. I think T-Core is more locked in socially. Joseph and Quinn would target Chelsea over T-Core. I think that is very subject to change considering what happens on this vote. If Quinn is made aware that he's the swing vote, I think that could change. T-Core is proven to be the better player than Chemo. It's you could look at it either way. Like, Chemo is proven to be the worse player, which makes him a smaller threat, so you'd keep him, but he's also the worst player, so he's less connected, so people are more likely to vote him out. It's just, you know. T-Core has numbers while Chelsea's the better player, but T-Core doesn't have that many more numbers. Like, here's the thing. I think T-Core having Chemo and Rabina is valuable. Chelsea having Cam is almost the same. Like, Cam versus Chemo and Rabina, I don't know. I'd prefer to have Cam, I think. Not to mention, she also has T-Core, which is kind of the big deal. She has T-Core. And Chelsea's getting back in with Mackenzie, which I think T-Core is having a little bit more difficulty doing. Obviously, she just nominated her. I do think T-Core has a better shot with Leah than Chelsea has with Leah, but ultimately I don't put that much importance into who has a better shot with Leah. So I got Chelsea at number 1. She's done an immensely impressive job fighting her way from the bottom. I think she's in a pretty safe position. I don't know who targets Chelsea next week. Honestly, there's like a couple people. I think Joseph would target Chelsea potentially. I will say, this position for Chelsea is really dependent on Tucker being evicted. Like, she needs Tucker gone. I think Chelsea should die on this hill of getting Tucker out this week if the possibility presents itself. Tucker in the house makes it really, really challenging for Chelsea. So, if you want to say T-Core above Chelsea because of that reason, I understand. Maybe Angela would put her up. I don't know. Angela's got a lot of people she's got to put up. She's got to put up Quinn. She got, I think really her biggest problem in the game right now is Joseph. And I think if she wins HOH, that's a pretty good target for her. I think you could put up, like, Chemo, Joseph, Rabina. Obviously, if Tucker's gone. If Tucker's not gone, you got to get rid of Tucker. In which case, you should put up, like, Tucker, Joseph, Angela. Tucker, Joseph, Leah, or someone, So, those are my player rankings. The long and short of it, T-Core is in a bit of a better position, but Chelsea is a much better player. T-Core trusts Chelsea too much, and Chelsea is willing to cut T-Core. And that, my friends, is the Week 6 player rankings. Ignore what it says on the screen. What do you think, Chelsea waiting for the 2 minutes before eviction to talk to Quinn to take out Tucker? I don't like it. I think it was better for Chemo and Rabina, or Chemo and T-Core to try to do that with the Rabina. But I think Quinn is someone, like, he's not going to act super impulsively like that. Like, he wants to be able to think about it. But I understand her concern of, do you really want to campaign against Tucker if Tucker might stay? Well, I think if Chelsea feels like she's already Tucker's target, she should just talk to Quinn now. If she thinks there's someone he's targeting before her, then I could understand the trepidation. They're scared Quinn would snitch. Yeah, I get that, but if I'm telling you, I think it's Chelsea's game. It is incredibly pivotal, important, critical that she targets Tucker and gets Tucker out right now. AI Arena constantly complicating things. I mean, in a way, it complicates things because there's more possibilities, but it also makes it much harder to strategize. And it makes it just better for compies. We've talked about it a million times. I think we're going to have one more week of the AI Arena. I think it's going to be next week's going to be the last one. Because then we'll be at the 9-person jury. Arena will end. That is my suspicion. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So, AI Arena would be good if there was no veto. All right, you might be cooking a little bit too much. All right, let's do the Stockwatch poll, and then we're gonna get offline. That's what we're doing, okay? Get offline. We gotta pick our categories for the arena. All right. It'd be a 7-person jury if it started week after next. No, it would be... Yeah, we'd have an eviction on Thursday, and then next Thursday, and then we're in jury. Will anyone get above a 6? We'll find out. Angela gets a 2. I think she has no win equity, but I don't think she's going to be out this week, so I'm not going to give her a 1. Cam, I think deserves a 5. He's a strong, likable, social dude who's not in immediate danger. But he has not shown enough strategic ability to be higher than a 5. Chelsea, I'm going to give a 6. She's not in a great spot. She's got people targeting her, but I do have faith in her strategic ability. I don't feel comfortable giving her a 7. And she's the highest, so no one's getting a 7. Joseph, I think I'm going to give a 4. I don't have a lot of faith in Joseph. Strategically, he's kind of there, but socially, he's really bad, and I think he's very close to being targeted and potentially evicted. People equals Joseph, so I give her a 7. That's not really my concern, Flora. My concern is Tucker. Tucker could very easily stay this week and very easily win the next HOH. That's my concern. Chemo's a 5. I think Chemo's a step above Joseph, honestly. But Chemo's barely a 5 for me. Leah, I think, is a 3. I just think she's really shown a lack of game acumen, and she's not good at comps, and I don't think she has win equity really in front of a jury. I just don't see the vision. MJ, I'll give her a 2. She could be evicted this week. I just don't. I don't see it. I think she's a really bad player, and she could be evicted. Why am I giving her higher than a 2? Why am I giving her a 2? She does feel like the type of player, too, who's going to go to the jury house and talk about how everyone else is so stupid. Like how she was the puppet master. Or not the puppet master, but she was the only one who understood what was going on. Quinn, I'm going to give Quinn a 6. I'm going to give Quinn a 6. It seems a little bit high on Quinn, but I do like the comp ability. I like the win equity. I don't hate the position. I feel comfortable enough giving Quinn a 6 here. Might seem a little bit high, but it's between a 5 and a 6. It's very close. I think Robina's a 5. Again, Robina and Quinn are close, but I think Quinn I just have more faith in as a player. Even if not, I don't have a lot of faith in Quinn's ability. T-Core is a 6. You know. And then Tucker, I'd say, is a 3. He's not a 2. He's too good at comps. Simply too good at comps. I feel good about these rankings. No one higher than a 6 again. There is a conversation I want to have of like, has there ever been a season with a worse best player? Let's think about this. Big Brother 25, in my opinion, Suri and Matt are better than anyone this season. You know what I mean? I know you guys are split on Matt, but we all agree Suri's better than anybody this season. Right? Let's just go through it. My lighting is bugging the fuck out right now. Okay. So let's start with 25. Suri clears everybody. 24 is the other season I was thinking. Is the best player from 24 Kyle? I know some people think Taylor. I think it's probably Kyle. Michael? I mean, is it Michael? I think, like, would you say Chelsea is better than anyone on BB24? I don't think it's Monty. I think it is Kyle. And I think you could definitely say Chelsea's better than Kyle. I think you could make the argument Chelsea is better than anyone from BB24. I'd be comfortable saying that. 23, I think there's 3 players, and that's... I mean, I think there's like 4 or 5 players. B23 is a very strong cast. The best player is obviously Tiffany, and Tiffany clears everybody. 22 is not close. 20 is not close. 19 is not close. 18 is not close. 17 is not close. 16 is not close. 15 is not close. 14 is not close. 13... maybe 13. Would you give like Shelly or Kalia better than Chelsea? Paul is significantly better. They're significantly better than anybody from 26. Like, not even close. You're way too down on Taylor. I love Taylor. I think she's a great winner. I think as a player, it's kind of hard to walk away from that season viewing her as like a really strong player. And I want, like, it's so frustrating. Like, this is where I almost wish I was not a player myself. Like, I want people to make sure they hold my opinions separate from my ability as a player. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not ranking myself above Taylor. I don't believe that. But, like, I don't think... It's hard to argue Taylor is, like, a great player. Danny Donato, BB13? Really? Or I guess, yeah, at that point. But Danny Briones? I don't know. I think 13's pretty close. 12's not close. 11, I think Kevin is better than everyone. 10, I mean, Kevin Campbell's not that great. 10's not close. 9, you know. Basically, the point is, like, I think this is one of the weakest casts we've ever had. That's the point. Yeah, BB9 is a bit of a blind spot for me, but I do understand it's not that strong of a cast. Okay. Next up, the individual player rankings. I think these days I'm officially back to being a Quinn stan. We're in for Quinn. My least favorite in the group right now, I'm going to say Tucker because he wants to quit. I kind of have a no tolerance policy on the quitting stuff. I think Leah's probably next. Then I think it's probably like Rabina. No, MJ's below Rabina. And then I think it's probably, I think Joseph's pissing me off right now. And I think Chemo's pissing me off after that. Cam is probably next. This feels right to me. This feels right to me. Okay. The episodes this week, didn't really watch them. I'll skip them. Feeds this week, they've been pretty good. This is a 7 out of 10 week. I've enjoyed them. Season as a whole, I mean, I think it's a 7 or I think it's a 6. I don't know. Like I've had trouble connecting to this season a little bit. I watched one on stream. Yeah, but you know, I've had a little bit of trouble connecting to it. I don't think I'm as high in the season as everyone, but you know, I'm just a hater, I guess. T-Core's HOH reign, it's a 6. She's getting someone out who she needs, but I'd say a 5. You know, it's a perfectly mid HOH reign. I don't think she's walking out with many enemies, but I don't think she bettered her position much at all. If she gets her to MJ, that's good. You know, say a 5. AI Arena Twist, I'm over it. AI Instigator Twist, just doesn't. It doesn't. I'll give it a 3. Like, I would give it worse, but it's not hurting the game, which most twists do. So I'm gonna give it a 3. It's just kind of a flop of a twist. And I would like. I think I'd like MJ out. I mean, I don't know. Like, Angela out would be pretty good too, because it's just like, what are we doing with Angela at this point? But she's so entertaining. Tucker would be good, but he is one of the only sources of drama on the season. I'm gonna say MJ. I don't know. I just don't like watching her on feeds. I'd prefer to watch Tucker. And we're back at Terran's stream. This bastard. Okay. Finally, we have to come up with categories for. I'm gonna turn the light back on. I feel pasty. We got to come up with our categories for the award show tonight. So, best Angela moment is 1. Best Angela moment. Best Tucker comp win. Best Quinn final 2. Most delusional. I just don't want to make an award for MJ. You know what I mean? I want to make sure there's a conversation for each one. Most delusional. I guess you could also say like Joseph, but yeah, I like worst alliance name. That's a good one. Best crush is definitely gonna be 1. Biggest yapper? I'll make biggest yapper. Sure. You gonna do worst fan base? I've got like 4 or 5, teams. Most frustrating strategically. We'll call it the MFS. The most frustrating strategically. And then the halfway point AFP. Oh, we could do best HOH. Best HOH reign. Worst HOH reign. Best week. No, I like best Tucker comp win because we have a lot of nominees. Ooh, I like this. I like this. Worst volunteer for pawn. I mean, Cedric's just gonna win, right? We can't do that. Like biggest blunder, maybe, because there's a lot of biggest blunders we can do. And then king/queen of the DR. I think this is enough categories. I think I'm pretty happy with this. Angela moment, Tucker comp win, Quinn final 2, worst alliance name, best crush, biggest yapper, worst fan base, most frustrating strategist, halfway point AFP, best HOH, worst HOH, biggest blunder, king queen of the DR. I'm gonna get rid of worst HOH reign. Kind of boring. Okay. So this will be live after the Bachelorette. So that ends at 9 Central. So it'll be a late night stream. We'll get cozy. And we'll knock it out. Is America doing a live? Probably. Well, we'll do it after the live. Worst fan base is easy? I don't know if it's that easy. There's a couple heavy hitters. All right. That'll do it. Thank you all for hanging out. I will be back later. I'm going to watch some feeds, record a podcast, do all that good stuff. But I'll talk to you guys in a minute.